In this video, we will review where we are today with regards to business problem number 1. We will be performing this from client 1 using Jesse's account, the Unix administrator, with some help from Bryant, the Windows administrator. So we set out to do a lot of things when we outline business problem number 1, but it basically falls into two categories: centralized administration with AD and access and privilege management. And we decided we're going to do this with Centrify because of the flexibility of the solution. So the first thing we had to do was to set a governance model in AD. So we wanted to make sure that Unix administrators get the access that they need and the privileges that they need, but within a manageable area. So we created this OU structure that in here I'm logged in as Jesse. Jesse can't go and delete users and things like that. He doesn't have access to do those functions because he doesn't have those rights. But within the Unix OU, he's allowed to, grant users rights and add computers to the systems and whatnot. And this is performed with the Centrify agent, right? So we talked about the agent, and it leverages Active Directory, which is an LDAP directory, uses Kerberos to authenticate in a secure way, and uses group policy. So with that in place, we started adding systems to the domain. There's multiple labs on that. And as we added systems to the domain, we grouped them in different ways. So we had a governance model in which we have database systems, and we also have web systems. So the idea is that our sysadmins can access all systems, but only database users go to database servers and web users go to web systems. So simple governance model. We also reviewed that we can give AD users Unix identities and roles. By default, Centrify will not allow anybody to log in unless they have both. We also realized that we can manipulate users' identities at multiple levels. Like for example, here with Doyle, you can see that Doyle has a Unix identity, at this level, but that identity has been overridden at different levels. For example, at the server level, he has a different identity. So the solution is very flexible with that sense. So what is the Netnet? The Netnet is that people can log in with their own credentials to the Unix systems. For example, if I were to want to create a session here to my CentOS 1 as Jeremy, I know that Jeremy is a DBA, and you will see that the user is able to log in with their unique AD credentials, and they have the right access. If I wanted to log into my web system as Jay Silva, I will get a different result because Jeremy is basically not a web user. So I'm going to get a different result here because the user is not authorized to go in there. Pretty simple. If I were to want to go in there as Jesse, who's actually my my sysadmin, he can go into those systems, no problem. So what is another benefit is that the administration is centralized to what you have in AD. Let's continue with Jeremy for a second. If I go as my Windows administrator and I go and I disable his account in the domain, and let's just say I want to duplicate my session here, again as Jay Silva, and this is in a system that he's supposed to have access to. Notice that it says, hey, your account is not accessible at this time. This is because the account is disabled. So all the administrative constraints that you can have in AD, like for example, when we look at an account, we can basically control what are the hours that the person can log in, what computers from they can log in, if the account expired. So all that administration and all the upstream processes that you may have, like like a workflow or an identity management solution, or manually, or via any other methodology, you can leverage all of those. The other thing that we set out to do was to enforce policy, right? So password policy was important, and in our particular case, we have a policy that defines complexity and at least 7 characters. So let's just say and let me go ahead and re-enable my user here, so everything is kosher here. Let's say Jeremy wants to change his password, right? So he would issue the password command and put the old password. And if I want to do something simple as I don't know, ABC123, 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 that's less than 7 characters, the agent is going to enforce that policy. So pretty much in terms of centralized administration, we're all set. Passwords are never exchanged because they're done through Kerberos. We've achieved quite a lot. So we've aligned with a unique identifier, which is the AD account in this case. And one of the things that we also accomplished was the fact that we have a privilege management in place. So remember that our Jesse is supposed to access any system. Let's just say he goes to our Solaris system, right? And wants to authenticate. And there you go. But if he needs to do something like, I don't know, edit the FT password file, he can always do dzdo, simplify enhanced sudo, dzdo vi password. So I'm going to be authenticated, of course. So the benefit here is that we can definitely change things, and these are things that only root should do, and I don't even know the root password, so we allow the person to have the privileges that they need, and we can be very, very granular on that, and we're going to be talking about that later. The other thing that at least it was hard for in our use case was to get information of who has access to what. So if I go into Access Manager, I have many ways to know. For example, if I need to know who has access to my Solaris box, which is a utility box, all I need to do is use the show effective Unix rights feature, highlight my Solaris machine, and only Jesse has access to that. So if I go into my database system, should be Jesse and Jeremy and Ramon. Same thing with my SUSE system, only Jesse as well as Doyle and Matt. We also have the reporting facility. So if we need to generate a report of who has access to the systems and what can they do with privilege, these are very simple things to do. So in the past 12 labs, we've been doing a lot of iterations and things, and the idea is to demonstrate that you can extend the benefits that you have with Active Directory today with a very robust product from Centrify and in the Centrify suite, and you can enforce security principles like the least access principle or business need to know access, and the least privilege principle in a very simple way. A lot of reuse, a lot of efficiencies. So I hope that so far this is has been useful to you. The next steps, we're going to take on more complex use cases, and hopefully you can keep up with the blog. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk later.